Welcome back to Films Retold. Today, we're going to be breaking down the season finale of Severance, Episode 9. Because of the way the episode jumps around from character to character, I may be all over the place, so if it's difficult to follow along, I apologize for that. From this point on, there will be spoilers, so if you're not caught up, head over to the break room and prove to Kier that you are sorry. Okay, let's get into it. Episode starts off right where we left off in Episode 8. The overtime protocol has been activated, and we are shown all three perspectives at the same time. Mark wakes up, and as we all guessed it, he's right in front of Colville. Colville is immediately suspicious of Mark when he doesn't know the direction to the bathroom in his sister's house. Irvin wakes up in his apartment and sees all the paintings of the elevator that Miss Casey was sent down in. Then we get the big reveal, with Helly waking up to Natalie. The two run into Gabby Arquette when Natalie introduces Helly as Helena Egan. Now, if you don't know, we had predicted Helly as being an Egan all the way back in Episode 5. So it feels super rewarding to be right about that. Huge shout out to all the people in my comments who helped me refine the theory and point out the things that I missed. After Helly realizes who she really is, you can see the dread of this knowledge come across her face. Britt Lower did an amazing job in this scene conveying the anger and the fear that she was part of the system that she hates. Truly an amazing job by the actress. Next we cut to the true hero of the episode, Dylan. He's holding open the overtime contingency switch, which what looks like to be an extremely uncomfortable position. Mark is then shown wandering around his sister's house trying to figure out where he is. Devin then knocks on the door, and Mark sees the baby thinking it could be his. "How's our baby?" Devin brushes this off as a joke and tells Mark she's going to go breastfeed, and then they can have that life-changing talk Mark told her about in Episode 8. Mark then finds out Devin is his sister from two guests from the book reading. Rebecca and her small eyes then run into Mark. I don't even know what that means or why her small eyes would be relevant, but I found it pretty hilarious how all these people are so socially awkward. Mark and Devin are definitely the most normal characters in the show. Just when Mark tries to tell Devin about the horrors of Lumon, Rickon starts the book reading, delaying Mark. When Mark is handed the book there to read, he realizes that it's Rickon's book and totally fanboys over him when he notices Rickon right in front of him. I predicted this to happen with Mark because from his perspective, he doesn't know anybody else's words outside of Lumon. I suspect Dylan would have had a similar reaction. Rickon dedicates the book reading to his daughter, further building Mark's knowledge of who his family is, and allowing him to come to the conclusion that Rickon is his brother-in-law. We get a short shot of Helly entering the gala, and we learn that her severance procedure was all about a PR move for Lumon. All the pictures Milchick was taking were specifically meant for this night, to show how happy the innies are. Obviously, we as viewers know this is complete BS. Irvin meets Radar while exploring his apartment. The more he investigates, he sees medals and honors from the Navy on his walls, implying that either he was in the Navy or a family member was. He then finds a chest in his closet. When he opens it, he finds a Navy uniform with a picture inside labeled Dad. We then cut back to Mark. Rickon has finished the first chapter read and takes a 7-minute reflection break. Mark meets Rickon outside and gives Rickon a pep talk, telling him how amazing his book is. Even Rickon is noticing something off with Mark. Rickon tells Mark that he was going through some old photos when he found one of himself, Gemma, Devin, and Mark all together. Mark asks to see the image, but is again interrupted by Rickon's assistant. Colville then runs into Mark again, asking if he's okay. She says that he became tense when they hugged, and wanted to know if Mark was serious about his plans to quit Lumon. Mark does not actually know what she's referring to, so he tries to break the conversation. As he walks away, he says thanks, Miss Colville. At this point, Colville knows she's speaking with Mark because Mark has no idea who Miss Colville is. Mark again confronts Devin, telling her that they need to talk right away, but her baby is crying. This leads to Devin giving Colville the baby so that Devin and Mark can talk. Big mistake, because then we see Colville rushing back to Lumon to warn Milchick of what's going on. We cut back to Irvin, who finds documents in a hidden compartment of the chest. Some of the documents are related to lawsuits, while others seem to be information on Lumon, such as a list of severed employees. This tells us that Irvin has been investigating Lumon, and my theory that his Audi was working for Lumon in other capacities is probably wrong. I thought that perhaps Audi Irvin might have been the artist for all the artwork we see in the severed floor. Irvin uses this information to get Bert's address. Helly then comes face to face with her father. He asks her if she's feeling well, and that he heard what her innie tried to do to her. You could definitely tell the Egans have no remorse for innies. He talks about the time he brought home a prototype of the chip when she was younger. This is an important detail because this gives us a timeline for how long the Severance has existed. Helly's not that old, so if the chip was created during her childhood, it could give us more clues about the story. He then tells Helly that everybody in the world will be chipped thanks to her. Helly is told that it's time to head to the stage and give her speech, but before she does, Helly recites the break room mantra to herself in the mirror. We then get back to Irvin, who's getting ready to leave. This was a really well done scene by the writers because they really made sure not to leave any major plot holes. For example, Irvin has no clue which car is his, so he needs to match up the model with the keys he has. Also, the fact that Irvin was never driven a car, so they made sure to show that with his driving skills. We are then shown Mark explaining everything to Devin. He tells her that they need to get inspectors down to Lumon, not even knowing if inspectors are a real thing. Devin explains to Mark that the reason he chose to be severed was because of the death of his wife, and that Audi Mark was trying to spare any Mark of the pain of the loss. We then see Colville speeding past Irvin as he's driving. Colville is finally able to reach Milchek on his phone and informs him that the overtime protocol has been activated, leading to Milchek in a Terminator sprint to Dylan's location. This scene with the music in the background had my heart pounding. Milchek reaches Dylan and tells him to open the door, with Dylan responding with,
"Fuck you, Mr. Milchek!"
Back to Mark and Devin. Mark asks why Colville is there, with Devin not knowing that she was pretending to be someone else. Devin, now realizing this, goes looking for her baby she gave to Colville before talking to Mark. Mark finds the baby in her car seat, but is shoved to the side so one of Rickon's followers can take credit. Irvin shows up to Bert's house and realizes that he has a family outside of work. You could tell this breaks Irvin's heart a little, because he clearly had strong feelings for Bert. We then cut back to Dylan. Milchek is almost in the door, but tries to convince Dylan to open it by bribing him with more rewards. Dylan says he wants to remember his kid being born, and Milchek says, "You have 2 more. I'll tell you all about him if you just open the door," but Dylan still refuses. Colville makes it to Lumon, and without even parking her car, jumps out and rushes inside. Just before Helly is to go on stage, Colville grabs her and tries to stop her, but Helly tells Colville that she's going to kill her company. Colville responds with, "Your company. Your friends will suffer. Mark will suffer. We will keep them alive, in pain." Now, I'm not going to lie, I thought this was going to change Helly's mind, but our girl came through. Helly then says, "Everything they've told you about Severance is a lie. They torture us down there. We're prisoners." Simultaneously as this is happening, Mark finds a picture of Gemma, in a rush to tell Devin that she's alive. Irvin is now banging on Bert's door to tell him what's going on. Mark screams, "She's alive," just before Dylan is tackled by Milchek, ending the overtime protocol, ending the season finale of Severance. What a roller coaster of an episode. We still don't know what the goats are for, or what MDR actually does, but the writers have set us up for what looks to be a really good season 2. We know Irving has been looking into Lumon, and I'll be doing a breakdown of some of those files that were shown. I also found some new information related to the handbook that was released with the Lexington letter, so expect a video to come out shortly. As always, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, please remember to like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks again.